Greetings, Earthlings, and welcome to 7th Street.
Sometimes I wonder if they have human brains.
Today we're asking the question, why doesn't anyone reference this film?
The problem is very serious and it will take some time to solve.
I'm talking, of course, about the 1974 Toho classic, Catastrophe 1999. Catastrophe 1999, or Prophecies of Nostradamus, or Last Days of Planet Earth, depending on which cut of the film you see, is the story of a Japanese professor who realizes that the end of the world is at hand.
It is more humane if we make sure that mankind survives.
You sound just like a fascist, like the Nazis.
Stop pretending to be humanitarian. Have the courage to really come to terms with this crisis.
Anyway, your predictions have yet to become reality.
They will if we do nothing. The trouble is you're too busy covering up the real dimensions of the problem.
As the effects of mankind rage out of control through radioactive smog, mutated animals, and the destruction of the ozone layer, the world leaders blindly spiral towards nuclear war. Even though he's not credited as the director, most of this film was actually directed by Yoshimitsu Banno, who was blacklisted by Toho Studios after the commercial failure of his previous film, Godzilla vs. the Smog Monster.
We shouldn't ignore. They think they can change things so easily when the result's global destruction.
Yoshimitsu Banno is known for his social commentary. Many of his films feature a anti-pollution or a brotherhood of man message.
When it comes to nuclear power, no nuclear power station can be entirely earthquake-proof. That is the danger, and the consequences of nuclear pollution are truly terrible. Yet we persist, despite all the warnings of the United Nations.
Fun fact, this film was actually banned in Japan for a number of years because of the insensitive way that it depicted survivors of a nuclear attack. You know, I always thought this movie was kind of like a nightmare put to film. On the surface, it looks just like another 70s disaster flick, but it's really much more than that. Catastrophe 1999 is a cautionary tale. It's showing us what we as a people have done to each other and to our own planet.
Already look at the results of industrial waste, and the cost in terms of destruction of life is far, far too high. Even the ocean is choking.
This is truly a haunting movie, and it's just as relevant today as it was in 1974. You know, I can't help but think that the lessons that this movie wants to teach us are lessons that we still need to learn.
Politicians are human beings like any others, but they've a responsibility to make sure these things don't come to pass. Otherwise, we're accelerating towards self-destruction.
There's a truly haunting scene in this movie where the professor travels to New Guinea. He's heading there to study the effects of a radioactive smog cloud that surrounded the island. When the crew arrives, they realize that many of the tribes have been transformed into these radioactive, zombie-like cannibals. Another fantastic scene in this movie is the worldwide mass suicide of the young. Young adults all across the globe kill themselves as a means for escape. I don't know what else to say about it. You really just have to see it for yourself.
In these last days, the young will destroy themselves.
Another part of this film that's worth mentioning is the fact that it depicts the destruction of the Fukushima power plant. Catastrophe 1999 is easily the most underrated Toho film ever made. I love this movie. I could honestly go on for hours and hours about how much I enjoy it. The acting is great, the soundtrack is better, and the whole movie is just so nightmarish and bleak that it'll stick with you long after the movie's done. I'm a huge fan of any movie that will make you ask questions. And this movie will make you question humanity itself. It'll also make you question, why doesn't anyone reference this film?